and this is our gold mentoring topic number 11, and it's entitled The Evolution of a Business Card. And so let's put our paws together for Mr. Michael Black.
Thank you. Well, today, essentially, the purpose of this session is to walk you through about 10 years of my own personal business card designs. And then after that point, we're going to go ahead and have a hot seat session where we'll mastermind together and figure out how to improve 1, 2, 3 cards depending on how much time we actually have. So this whole session is designed to be interactive. I want people to be able to discuss and bring up questions and ideas and talk back and forth. So it's not really designed for me to just be sitting up here talking at you. It's more about us working together to improve all of our business cards. And I think even myself coming out of this session will come up with some ideas that I can improve my own cards. So that's really what it's more about. So let's see here. This is going. So the evolution of a business card. Now, there's 7 elements that every business card should have, and I'm not going to be spending a huge amount of time on those. It's kind of pretty straightforward stuff. Obviously you've got to have your name and picture. The picture is a real big deal, though, for me. People do business with other people. They don't do business with corporations, so to speak. And even if they do business with a corporation, there's always a face on that corporation. So pictures are huge. Testimonials, powerful stuff. Anything someone else says about you will be far more powerful than anything you could ever say about yourself. Multiple forms of contact. People prefer to communicate in their own methods. So providing ways for them to contact you either via social media, email, snail mail, fax. People still use them, believe it or not. All kinds of different methods of contact is really important to make sure it's as easy as possible for someone to communicate with you in the way they feel most comfortable. Call to action is often missing on a business card. A call to action is essentially directions on telling them what you want them to do. That's one of my big beefs with car commercials, really, is that when you see a car commercial, they drive a fancy car and they may say, 0% financing for 6 months, but at no point in that commercial do they tell you to buy the car. So really, that's what a lot of image branding does. It just puts an image or a message out there, but doesn't ask you to do anything. And so specifically, your card should tell them to do something. Should they contact you? Should they drop by our office for a free consultation? Do they need to go visit your website before talking to you? All these things, you want to make sure that they have a clear call to action and they know specifically what step you want them to take next. Strong guarantees, obviously, are a big deal. Risk reversal is huge. Unique selling proposition, that's the answer to the question of why should someone do business with you versus every single one of your competition. And then an irresistible offer. Irresistible offers will always jump your closing rate. So if you can think of some way to make your offers as risk-free and desirable as possible, then you're going to increase your closing ratios. So moving on now, and like I said, these first 2, I'm not spending a lot of time on these first 2 parts just because it's pretty straightforward stuff. The fun comes in the next segment.
So, Mike, real quick question here. So I understand these from a marketing perspective, but we're really talking about business cards. So without putting a whole bunch of information on your business card to make it to where it's almost hard to get through it, per se.
Definitely.
I still recommend trying to do all these on a business card. And you can do it simply? Or?
Actually, I'm very glad you brought that up because I did forget to mention that ultimately this is what, in a perfect world, this is what I'd put on every business card. But as we all know, business cards, you only have so much real estate on them. So oftentimes, even myself, like my $100 bill cards, there's no picture on those. I couldn't fit it on there, so I had to go without it. There's no testimonials on it either. Had to go without it. So really it's about trying to fit the most desirable pieces of that. And that's why the should is in there, is that ideally I would like to see all of that on a business card, but realistically, and I'll also be showing you some different sizes of business cards as well that allow you to fit more in there.
Thank you.
So, and just piggybacking on that, so do you advocate having more than one business card? Having maybe mixing it up a little bit so you could put a call to action on one and a testimony on another kind of thing?
Definitely. I highly recommend that. I actually operate from about 4 business cards, typically. On my person, I have 2 business cards that I share with people. And, for instance, on my $100 bill card, there is no testimonial, but on my new vertical cards, there's no testimonial. So, but other cards I do have testimonials on those. But once again, I didn't have room for them on that one either. So, But certainly putting the different elements on there is a good thing. And depending on what market you're approaching, in the past I've billed myself as a restaurant marketing expert, not a direct response marketing expert, or an auto repair marketing expert. And it's true, I've worked with several clients in restaurants, auto repair. I've got tons of marketing for it, and I know how to market those businesses. So if I'm going after that specific group, I'll have a card made that targets that specific group. And really, when you're talking about the resources available to you today, it's pretty easy to have 2-3 cards made up and rotate through them. And in fact, in PepNet, what I'm going to be doing is fairly soon, once I have enough of all of my cards made, I'm going to start rotating through, and every week I'm going to have a new card, one per week for a month, rotating through there. So it'll be something new and fresh every single week. So, but the biggest mistakes I see business owners making is not using both sides of the card. When I mention this, typically the response I get is, well, I like people to be able to take notes on the back. And for me, it's more about your sales message, being able to make sure that you communicate your value to them rather than having them maybe jot down a phone number or something. So that's a real big deal. Too much white space is another one I hear. White space has its place for sure, but at the same time, if you have white space, you can't sell in that space. And then certain companies like FedEx, if you notice, between the EX is an arrow, and the white space creates an arrow, so that's intentional graphic design elements. But not all of us can really be that creative with that space, and while it has a psychological impact, I think you're better off using as much space as you can to communicate the value of your product or service. Plain Jane business cards, we've all seen those before, so we know exactly what that looks like. And to me, that's almost just a waste of time, really. It's got your information, but as you see from some of the statistics on the sheet I gave you, 90% of business cards get thrown out relatively quickly.
It makes me crazy when somebody doesn't have their name on the business card.
Email is one of the ones that bothers me.
I'll get a card, and it's the place of business, but there's no name of the person that I just spoke to. It's like...
Exactly. And how's that going to stick with you?
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't even know why somebody wouldn't put their name on their business card.
Unless you're just a sales representative that's contracted to promote a certain business, and they're not actually, they're representing the business, but they're not actually an employee. It seems weird, but I'm sure that can happen.
I kind of see what you're saying. I do have some cards, because I actually have a mountain of cards. I don't throw cards away, actually.
And a canister.
Yeah.
I put them in my database, and then I put them in my canister.
Definitely. And that, the interesting thing about that, too, is I just got business from a gentleman that I met nearly a year ago at a Minding Your Business class from Terry Zarski at the Pikes Peak Library District. If you haven't taken that, I highly recommend it. But the gentleman, just on a lark, he was starting up a business and doing some interesting stuff. And I was like, well, here's my card. And it was the $100 bill card. He called me 2 days ago and wants me to meet with a referral with a client that he can't take care of. And I guarantee you, if I'd have given him a plain Jane business card, he would not have kept that card and would not have remembered me a year later. And so I think something like that, especially on that sheet I gave you, see the statistic, like 88% of business cards are thrown away within a week. I just shattered that statistic. And that's what this is really about, is how can you keep your card in their hands until they need you. So, a big pet peeve of mine is QR codes that send you to your home page or non-mobile optimized site. I don't like viewing the internet on my cell phone. The screen's too small and my fingers are too fat. I can't get things done on them. So that's a huge mistake. If you're going to use a QR code, send them to a free offer and send them to a mobile optimized page so that they can actually view your offer. Because that's just going to annoy somebody if they actually take the time to scan your code and you send them to a web page that they have to expand and read it by moving the screen back and forth, and it just defeats the whole purpose, really. And that actual type of stuff is what is making QR codes less effective nowadays, because people are tired of it.
Yeah, and so quickly it happened, And people got that learning curve or that psych set where they are seeing QR codes and going, I don't even want to look at it.
Yeah, because one minute it was fun and new, the next it's boring and dull.
Yeah.
So, and of course you can also be creative with your QR codes, like the ones I'm sure you guys have seen, the AfroMarketing one that I had done with the QR code embedded in the Afro. So that type of stuff also makes it memorable and increases its stickiness, if you will, the stick factor.
Did you do that, or did Rhonda do that?
Rhonda did that one. I had suggested the idea, but she did all the graphic design on that. And I know graphic design, but I'm not a graphic designer. So I do toy with the elements of it. I can Photoshop my own pictures and all of that, but I don't know a whole lot beyond that. And then ultimately, lack of social media information will be the last one I toss on there. And that's just because it's so easy to just throw those icons on there if you're on social media, so why not, you know? And it also allows you to attach some level of credibility from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all of those services. If people see you're there, it does attach some credibility from that service to you. So, moving on, the next section, and this is what I really look forward to, we're going to cover 10 years of business cards designs, and you're actually going to see the first, or close to the first, it's maybe the second business card that I ever designed for my business back in 2003. So, as you see on this one, I've got a USP there, which is still close to the USP I use today 10 years later. We work with entrepreneurs and companies to cut all the fat and waste out of their advertising and make their sales efforts at least 500% productive guaranteed. You'll also see that I have multiple forms of contact. There are instructions in the red there, important information on the reverse side. I've got a free offer. On the bottom one there, you see a free report for reveals how to increase your sales and profits. But the issue I see with this card, and I know this right away, is the colors that I used, while ultimately blue, red, white, and blue became the colors that I used for that company, the color choices are random, essentially. I thought it'd look good in blue. I thought red would be attractive to getting towards people's attention. And I think of any of the cards that you're going to see today, this is the most plain Jane that you're going to see. And you'll notice that there's no... this is a double-sided card, actually, but there's a lot of those key elements missing. You know, there's no picture, there's no testimonial, there's no irresistible offer. I'm missing a lot of those key elements. And so that's what a lot of this is about, is how did my business cards evolve from 2003 to now?
Michael, did you track your free report? So were you able to see how many people?
I was not tracking my free report at that time either. But as you see on the next slide, I actually am tracking it now. If you take a look at the extension on the bottom there, 8601, what that is I was paying, at that time I was paying for a 1-800 service that allowed you to use extensions for people to call in, get a free message read to them, you know, over the telephone, and then that extension tracks, so I put a different extension on different marketing pieces so that I know where they came from in the different extensions. So I know that 8601 extension, everybody that's calling into that number came from my business card. So I might stick 8602 on my free report next time, and then I know everybody coming from that free report. The service, I think at the time, was around $100 a month. I can't remember. But it allowed a lot of really cool things because, for instance, you could find out all the statistics on when people stopped listening to your free recorded message.
Wow.
And all kinds of information so you can figure out how to improve that sales message. And really the good thing about free recorded messages is that it takes all of the threat and the scariness out of the sales situation. They can call in, they know they're not going to get a person, so they're not scared about being sold on the phone already. So it's a great way to get your information out there, track things, and then also make it easier for people to find out more about your services. Now at this point, the bottom card on the left there, I'm still using random use of color in that one. But the card on the top right, I've actually started to nail down. I've got my company colors as blue, red, white, and blue. I also added a headline, Stop Being an Advertising Victim. And that's a theme I use today in my business as well. So I think that one of the things that this shows is that the themes that I've developed and used in my marketing, they were developed over the course of about 10 years. So it's not something that I just invented at once, but it's something that I developed over time. And really with business cards, it can be an incremental thing. You know, I mean, you've got this card, I like this card, but I want to change it more this way, or I want to add this element to it. And you don't have to necessarily get everything done at once. You know, there's time to do it incrementally. And you'll see over the course of 10 years, by the time you get to the end of this presentation, I think you'll see a very large development in the way the cards are designed, essentially. So these cards are not very exciting at the moment. We're still looking at a pretty straightforward card. You'll also notice on this one, I've made the mistake, there's no backs to these at all. So I made the cardinal mistake of this one of not using the back side of the card. And I think that is just, it's just real estate that has to be used, in my opinion.
So this one here. Oh, wait, these all.
So those are
have
3 different
fronts.
cards.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, each one of those is 3 different cards.
Oh, I thought maybe this was the flip side of that.
The slide before had a front and back card, but these 3 have no backs to them at all.
I personally like getting a card that is not glossy on the back and has some room for me to write. See, I can remember we talked about when we just went to Hawaii. Her husband works at Excelis. You know, that kind of stuff so that I can remember people.
Well, if that works, well, there are, I mean, and keep in mind that my take on this is going to be from a purely sales and direct response standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of different opinions on how to do your business cards, and that's the take I have on it. Me, I prefer, in my business cards, and certainly with the $100 bill cards, you see this, that I prefer my card to be so, I can't imagine anybody writing anything on one of my cards. People save my cards for years. And so I would rather, for me, the value is in having the sales message there, and if it's important enough for them, and I'm not talking about for the ease of use for you, but for them, I'd rather them have to, think it's so valuable that they go grab a piece of paper and write some stuff down about me than jot it on my card, I guess.
I think you hit it early on saying you use different cards for different settings.
Oh,
So
yeah.
If you're going to a networking group meeting where you're going to meet 30 different people, you probably take the card where you have no back on it, right? But if I have an existing client who I sat down and talked to somebody and they know me, who I am, they just want to know my number. I think that's where Michael comes in with a different card. I see your point. If you're just meeting a bunch of people, like speed networking and stuff like that, then I think it's essential that you have room to write, because you exchange business cards and you take a couple notes on who it is. But so
Well, I like that, actually, because I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective, but you're right. I think
speed
that...
network. But if you're in like TechNet, for instance, you know everybody. Nobody's going to write something on your business card there. They're going to take it because they want your number and your email address. And they're going to probably put it in their phone. But
Yeah, definitely.
There's my-
Chamber events and things
Yeah,
like
all
that.
those and that's tough, That goes back to return on investment and your time and how many clients you actually get out of that. That's a whole other.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's better still to only talk to like 4 people, maybe at the most. Well, the first one I went to, somebody with their goal to introduce me to like 30 different people. So I got 30 cards, but I don't know that I ever talked to those people.
Yeah, and of course, did you have the time to make a genuine connection with them as well? It's part of that issue. So, but moving on to our next set of cards, this is where we're starting to get to my more recent stuff. This is actually the first business card I ever brought into PetNet. So we're now looking at about 2010-ish, somewhere in there range. End of 10. And so on this card, this is where I've got my first real, true personal branding elements coming in. I've got the green and black. I've got my face on both sides of the card. You'll notice, though, that my colors are not matching yet. I'm still in pink on my card picture in my suit, but then on the front side, I'm in green. So that's not consistent still. I do have a testimonial that I got on there finally. And then a very powerful statement to use in any type of marketing is John Carlton's famous if-then. And that's simply the statement, if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, sales professional, then this could be the most important business card you'll ever read. If you are concerned about the health of your children and your carpets, this could be the most important visit you'll ever have. If you're, concerned about keeping repeat business or getting referral customers, then this could be the most important service you'll ever have. I mean, this if-then statement works in any industry, and it's very, very powerful. John Carlton is at least in my circles, a very famous direct response copywriter doing the same thing that I do. And so that if-then statement, super powerful, super powerful. These photos are taken amateur. The photo on the left with my afro out, that was taken on a cell phone on the spot just out of my head after braiding was done, in between a braiding session. The one on the right was intentionally taken, but all I did was I stood against a wall, had a friend take a picture, and Photoshopped myself out of it. Or Photoshopped the wall out of it. So these are amateur pictures here, and obviously we have the benefit of having Bruce Henson, who's not here for me to plug him. But if he were, I would say that that's a great opportunity to partner up with Bruce and getting those done, because he also took the personal branding session. And so he knows, and for those of you that weren't here, I gave out 7 poses that were my personal branding poses to use to convey certain elements. And if any of you are interested in that, I'd be certainly happy to get you that information too for your cards. And then also at this point, I didn't know what Afro meant. And that was something that I learned eventually, that I need to change that to make more of a connection to my business. So later I came up with the affordable first class results oriented, but at the time of first joining PepNet, I didn't have that yet.
Do you still do the other business? Or is that business name now gone?
That business is now gone. That was during the time when I was with Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle, working with Dan Kennedy, running a networking group here in Colorado Springs. The focus of it being marketing, essentially. And the front is the back. So where I'm standing, the picture of me standing was the front of the card, but actually the back of the card. It's the back of the card, but every time I handed it out as that picture first. Because if I'm in my suit, they see me represented in the exact same way as I'm dressed on my card. Very powerful. And so I always handed out my card backwards with that picture first of me standing. So I think that is a really great, and that's one of the personal branding poses right there too. Very, very strong. Depending on how you want to, the 2 psychological impacts of that photo, one is confidence. The other, some people have felt that it's a little standoffish with my arms crossed. So, and we'll get to this here in a moment, but there are different things you can do with your stance to portray different ideas to people.
I think it portrays casual confidence.
Okay.
Doesn't seem standoffish.
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't appear to me to be standing, and you're smiling, that's probably why.
Yeah, I suppose if I didn't have that on there, that would look quite a bit different. So moving on to the next one, this is going to be fun. This is the $100 bill card. Now this one, I know some people have found it to be inconvenient because of the odd sizing. It does not fit in normal business cards, envelope or business card. Holders such as these little things. If I can get one out. There we go. Yeah, I don't fit in that. But that's all right, because I don't belong in a stack of other people's business cards. And that's why. So it may be inconvenient for people, but it's also intentional. But it's true. I mean, I want to be recognized, and so even if you stick my card in a stack of business cards, you're still going to see it poking out on the edge there. And that's very intentional. Also, I was able to add a signature onto this one. This is the first card that has my signature. I like to do that because, once again, since I couldn't fit a picture on there, I want to do something that still personalized it to me. So the signature I thought was a good way to kind of throw it in there. And I intentionally angled it so it looked like I actually wrote it up on the card real quick. Now, the nice thing about this card is that it's very versatile. The idea is basically you can tie this into any business based on the idea of saving money. Mine, it says put more profit in your pocket, but you know that you can adopt that. I mean, certainly for your business, saving money, creating wealth for your future, all of that fits well with it. There's just so many different ways you can use this simply by saying, saving money and tying it in. This is also the first one where I use reverse type, where you see how I say, let me show you how to do it. That's reverse block type. That's a great way to draw people's attention to certain elements of your card. So, for instance, you could say, put your guarantee in reverse block. You could put important contact information, web address, things of that nature in reverse block type. But that is a great way to draw people's attention to specific elements. It's unique. Even though since I started using this card, there have been other knockoff companies come out that provide $100 bill cards. But mine are still unique in that it's the folded money, and I even did some research prior to coming in here. There's nobody still doing that exact style. They're doing basically a $100 bill that you fold in half, and it doesn't look like money. And I give my card now. Also, I have a money clip that I keep my card in, and so now, yeah. And I actually get people that won't take my card because they really think it's money. I'm like, here you go, and they're like,
Or
they grab the whole wad there.
Yeah. So that's another little item that I did. But once again, it's very personal branding type of thing. And then when they read it and get into it, it's great.
So we should all go out and get $100 bill cards and everybody use them at PepNet.
Well, here's the thing, too, is that I've actually included the information for you to go get these. Keep in mind, as I said, I'm going to be soon rotating off to 4 cards at once, so my $100 bill cards won't be as prominent in PepNet as they once were. But quite frankly, you all are blessed to be the first ones for me to ever share the website where I got them from. Typically, I tell people I'll get back to them and then don't. So it's a nice little close-to-the-cuff item, but I gave you the information because I want you to use it, so feel free to use it. Proprietary language on there. Let's see. Serial entrepreneur. I love that one. Jokingly playing off of the idea of serial killer. So, and I had someone actually, the gentleman that contacted me, one of the reasons he contacted me, he cited, is that on my card, the first words you see is serial entrepreneur. He's like, I am not a serial entrepreneur, but I'm a frenetic entrepreneur. I'm in everything. I was like, yeah, well, you're the type of people I like to deal with. And so that key phrase there caught his attention and made him say, you know what? I need to get a hold of that guy. And so when you think about it, it's not big doors swing on little hinges. So these little changes that you can make to your business cards will add up to increase sales over time. It's just a matter of what things can you do. So maybe you can't fit a testimonial on there or some other item, but I'm sure you could fit a guarantee or another form of contact or social media icons. You can always fit those. But yeah, so the website for that is www.thefoldovermoneycard.com. And also, another thing I'm going to be doing with my $100 business cards is they've since improved their service. I'll go ahead and pop over the next slide on that. They actually produce all kinds of different cards now in that same vein. So you can get Canadian money, you can get denominations of 10, 20, 50, and 100, I believe from them. So you actually have a choice. And my next cards I'm going to make, I'm going with $20 bill cards or $50 bill. Because everybody's caught on to the 100, so I'm going to keep changing. They can go ahead and do that. They can be behind me, though, because I'm going to change to $20 bills, $50 bills, and switch it up more and more because, people are going to copy what you do no matter what. I mean, that's just the nature of life. But if you're constantly changing your business, then they can't keep up with you. So you have a lot of different cards to actually choose from in that area.
With the social networking, are you talking about putting an actual little Facebook icon on it, or are you talking about putting your link to get to your page?
The Facebook icon minimum, because that's something that you could always fit on a card somewhere. Preferably, if you're pushing and do a lot of business through your fan page, then you would want your fan page next to it. You can find me on Facebook just by typing in AfroMarketing, because you can actually name your page as a word. So I named mine AfroMarketing, so if you look for me, you'll find me as AfroMarketing on Facebook, and you can put that next to your Facebook icon, and now they know how to exactly find you on Facebook. And putting a link, though, is not a bad idea either. The only issue is that Facebook URLs are not friendly. They're eyesores.
Exactly.
They're what?
Eyesores, meaning you're going to get www.facebook/12-b/.
Okay.
Now you can get around.
Percentage sign.
Yeah. Now there are link shortening services you could use, Bitly, Tiny URL, but those also typically they create randomized URLs that are shorter, but they're still not eye-catching. But I think some of them allow you to do vanities, and if they allow you to do a vanity, then you can do that, or forward it from another domain, things of that nature. Now this is the newest card that I introduced into PepNet, and it's got some innovations in it that none of the other cards have. Purely vertical. I hadn't done that yet. I had done some hybrid ones, but this card is strictly vertical. This is the first card where I used professional photography. So I just point out that up until 2012, I never had a professionally photographed business card. I didn't need it. So I would just say that you don't let that stop you if you aren't able to deal with that professional photography sessions and things of that nature right now. Lean up against the wall, take a picture, make sure that the contrast is large, and Photoshop yourself right out. It's really easy. And if someone, I could do that for you, no problem. So this is the first time that I have professional photos done. But I also think that it shows in the layout and the pictures in the card.
I like the afro popping up, the rising afro.
Yeah. And see, my ideas with that one was to because I'm kind of trying to look up at the social media card, social media icons, but I also just put it there to be fun and to tie in the Afro with the AfroMarketing. And that actually, once again, was purely coincidental, thanks to Heather Sam's Fine Photography. She's the one that did these photos, but she actually was the one that came up with that idea, and I snatched it. So I can't even take credit for that one, but now I use it in everything. So now I've got my personal branding really locked down. I've got my colors match my suit, which matches the reverse boldface type, which matches the box. So all of my color elements are now complete in that. I've got personal branding from the perspective of I've got my standing picture on one side, literally leaning into my logo or my business name, wedding my personality with my business. And then here's a really cool thing that you probably haven't seen. If you look at the boldface type and just read that, the boldface says, if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or sales professional, this could be the most important business card you'll ever read. I'm the president of AfroMarketing. Contact me to schedule your free 60-minute marketing mastermind today. Now, another readership path in there, if you follow the underlines, I work with people just like you. My strategies have been used successfully in 156 different industries. There's no reason why you can't experience the exact same success. And then the two paths connect on the contact me part in the where it's both bold and underlined. Now, the purpose of this is that people read in different ways. Some people will read the first line, last line. Some people will read the first line of every paragraph. Some people will read only the bold, only the underline. And so what I've done is I've given people 3 ways to read this business card. And doing that is not very hard. So no matter how people go over this, they're going to get the gist of what I want them to know. Included in that, I've got the humorous aspects of me peeping up on the edge of the card. I've got my social media icons on there. And in this one, I used the mixture of the white space that I was talking about before with a dirty, if you will, appearance of direct response. Because direct response likes junky looks. That's typically a well thought out design. It's not that I just clumped whatever I could clump there, but I did it in a very specific way. And that's what direct response, a lot of it is about, is maximizing your space. So I have the clean white space on the front, but then the junked up back side of the card. Also, it got a little cut off there, but at the very bottom of my card it says big hair, big ideas. And that's finally I came up with my tagline. Because I had my USP, but I didn't have a tagline for my business. So that made it onto the card also. And so I'd say that this card is a representation of a lot of the other elements that were missing in the previous cards finally coming together.
Almost like a flyer on the back of the card.
Definitely, and that's kind of the look I'm trying to go for there. Because the way I figure is people are going to get from the front side of the card my business name. That's no problem. If I give you the front side of my card, they're going to get, I'm in some kind of marketing, I'm professional, and I'm affordable, first-class results-oriented, all that. And then, so right from the get-go, you get what I'm about. But the backside is for when you want to take the time to really get into it. And you'll notice one of the least visible part of my card is the contact information. I don't need that to be giant, bold letters. If they want to talk to me, they'll squint to read the contact information. And so that's the smallest part of the entire card.
So you don't need to put all the information, all that on the front of the card. People scan them into their phones.
Yeah, people do
lot,
that too.
But they don't scan both sides. And so would that be a deterrent, not having the phone number very small or something under your foot there on the front? Or does it make a difference?
It could. I mean, I haven't had anybody scan my card in front of me yet,
No.
so I don't know how often people do that. I mean, it could be. And as technology's become more prevalent, I could see that becoming an issue in the future. I mean, I don't think it would be really an issue now, but it could be. And, really when you're thinking about your business card, that's what we're doing, is thinking in a really circumspect manner. What are all the different elements going into this? And part of that is, how scannable is my card? That can certainly be part of it, too. I mean, I've been wanting one of those little Nito machines that you see advertised, that you just slide the cards through and it scans it all into your database. I've been wanting to get one of those.
Office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and moving on to the last business card. Second to the last. And this ties into what you were saying before, Sandy, about having multiple cards, this is another card that I have for my newsletter service. And on this one, I've got my first QR code used, although it's not that good Afro one. And that does go to a mobile optimized page for a free marketing mastermind that they can sign up for. It promotes a completely different aspect of my business. Once again, a blended style of horizontal and vertical. And then 3/4 perspective photo on the right allows me to fit a full-sized or a full-length picture in a much smaller space. So if you compare that to the other picture on my previous business card with me standing, it takes up a lot less space than my full standing one. Also, that 3/4 perspective is very powerful in personal branding. Very difficult to get. To get that photo, Heather Sams had to stand up on literally the top of a ladder. Scared me to death because I'm like, okay, if you fall, I can't have you fall. And she's like, well, if I fall, catch the camera. And so, well, those things are expensive. So, but literally, she's standing on the top of like a 10-foot ladder, looking down on me. So it's a very hard photograph to get. But you can do it if you're, say, standing over here and then have someone stand on a table, maybe, or something. But difficult photo to get, but very powerful. I've got my multiple pictures there, and I've got reverse face type on my offer. And then also that little checkered kind of box at the very bottom to the left of the QR code, that's what's called a Johnson box. And you can stick a message in there. That's a great tool to put some type of specific information in, again, like a free offer, testimonial, any type of information that you want to call their attention to in a different way. And so that's typically a Johnson box. It's just the form of a box that's set aside inside of type, is all it is. And so that also points out, though, that you can have, like I use this card, it goes to a completely different web address. Everything is completely, there's nothing about AfroMarketing on that card. It's all about the newsletter. And so if I have someone that's interested in my newsletter service, I'm going to give them that card. Although nowadays I tend to give people all my cards nowadays, but I would definitely give someone that's interested in my newsletter service this card. And for instance, someone that I was talking directly to about that, I wouldn't even bring up my other AfroMarketing cards. Like, here's my newsletter service, if that's specifically what they're interested in. And because my newsletter service is an important part of my business, it generates repeatable, predictable income. It makes sense for me to plug that part of my business specifically, have a separate website for that part of my business specifically. And now here is the big whammy. Now this card, that is my sales letter card. That is the size of 4 business cards front and back.
So is it 5x7?
Yeah, I think that's the measurements on it. And that one, that I would say is probably the most powerful business card that I've ever done. I've had people, I guarantee that there are people that I've designed this, because I've done this type of card before in the past for previous businesses, and I guarantee that those people still have those cards even from businesses 5 years ago. So I see people.
This doesn't fold then, right?
Oh, it folds. It folds.
This folds into a.
Unfortunately, I
Is
did
this
not bring that with me. I should have.
A double card? So is that all this is, or what?
Yeah, it's essentially it's the size of 2. Let's put it this way. So the card folded is this size, folded. 2 business cards like that, folded.
Oh, I see.
So when you open it up, just like my fold-over card, you open it up
Then
just
it's
like
twice
this.
that size.
Yeah, then it's twice this size. So when it opens up, it's more like to here.
But it can't be folded into a business card size.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But once again, that's intentional.
So it's like a 4x6 of its own.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on the dimensions. I can certainly provide templates that I use to create the business cards for you, if you find that beneficial, and then you could just fill in your information into the template and give that to whoever is doing your business cards. So that would be no problem. I've got my tagline on there. Strong personal branding elements throughout the entire thing. I've got a transformation mechanism, and let's just say, John, and you probably have heard me do this before, but pick a number 1 to 4.
4.
Darn it. Well, scientifically speaking, what I just did was a scotoma. And I don't know why, but everybody picks 4 now. But essentially what I said was pick a number 1, the number 1, the number 2, the number 4.
Yeah, I got it.
So your brain automatically fills in that in with a 3. And 80% of people will say 3 when you ask that question. If you say pick a number, and I didn't say 1TO4. I said 1, 2, 4. And then your brain thinks 3. But lately I've been getting 4 a lot. So, I don't know.
I've heard you say that before, but I couldn't remember what I was supposed to say.
Yeah. No worries. But see, the good thing about that, you can do that in your one-on-ones, and if they pick something else, so you can be like, well, you have an extraordinary mind. And then you let them in on the secret. Do you know that this is scotoma and that 80% of people in the world will respond 3? You have the type of mind that I want to get to know better. So it works either way. Or it's, I read your mind, we think a lot alike. Extraordinary minds think alike, let's get together, do a one-on-one. So there's a transformation mechanism on the card, being that I have the number 3 hand drawn on there, and then I point to the 3. Well, is your number on this card? Or so that's why there's that random 3 just sitting on the card there. Yeah, so that's what that's there for. This is a complete sales letter with multiple readership paths, headlines, subheadlines, signature, call to action. It's all there. On the back side there, which would be the upper left quadrant, you'll see I've got 3 testimonials squeezed in there from different industries. I've got multiple pictures. This is also the first card that's featuring handwriting on it, where I've actually written on, kind of fun stuff. Like I got a drawing of a dollar bill over there, and I've underlined stuff and brackets.
That's cool. When you did your presentation and you gave us all that sheet of paper, and you had several different, each one of those you hand wrote into each one of those. And I saw that, and I was like, that is really cool. It just differentiates it so much better. And I like the handwriting on a business card. I never thought of that.
Yeah, and I think it's a great... Well, once again, it's the personal branding. This is personally written on by me. That's my handwriting. And, of course, I can throw out some resources on this as well. A man I met in 2010 at the Money Making Super Conference in Dallas, Mike Capuzzi is his name. He has a product that I bought called Copy Doodles, and that is how I do this. Copy Doodles are essentially pre-done graphics that you just copy into Word, and then you click on the image and then tell it to bring it to the front, so it overwrites the stuff underneath it, and it looks like you're drawing on it, so that when you buy Copy Doodles, it comes with underlines, scratch-outs, like 200 words, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, X's, brackets, smiley faces, coffee stains, all kinds of fun stuff. And I've even done mailings for clients where I sent out a sales letter and then sent out the exact same sales letter, but with Copy Doodles on it now. Like I marked it up and junked it up, scratched out the offer and put a new number on there trying to get more attention. All kinds of fun stuff. Another thing, if you don't want to buy Copy Doodles, that you can do is mylivesignature.com. And that is essentially, it's a website that's designed to let you create your own online signature. But creative thinking, I realized that I didn't have to use it for just that. I could use it to create any writing I wanted. So if you go to my website, www.afromarketing.net, you'll see my slider rotates through a lot of different stuff. I used mylivesignature.com to make it look like I wrote all that. So, and you can do that completely for free. It's just a little time consuming because you have to select a lot of different options to get the final product, but it's completely free. So, and using that tip I just gave you can use that on anything now for free that you'd like to.
I was thinking for Susan, in that her business is personalized and you're the first touch to people in homes, people nowadays, a lot of them love a handwritten note as opposed to a computer generated. So this could be the best of both.
Well, I was going to ask, what's that website again?
mylivesignature.com.
My life signature.
And if you Google online signature generator, you'll find websites, but that's the website I use. And you'll see also that this is the first time I made very prominent use of my social media icons. I mean, those things take up a whole row on the card. But then again, I had the space. So if you look at the evolution of my business card from 2003 to now, and this will be the next card that I'll have made, by now I've managed to fit probably all 7 of those things now on this card. And so that's the question is, because you can also get cards that are these size, but tent cards that fold open. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of options. There's also a card I want to mention, Proforma. They have a card that's a Rubik's Cube card. And essentially what it is you fold the card, and it actually is like 4 cards in one, but it's still the same size as this business card. So you fold it up, out, it has different messages depending on how you fold it. So I was thinking that's another card I want to incorporate. I just have to think about, because it's like designing 4 cards then, because you have to design each face of the card.
I have a realtor friend who is a realtor out at Flying Horse. This card is beautiful. So it looks like this, and when you open it up, it's got another flap, so it opens up 3 wide, and it's a picture of the entire golf course at Flying Horse. So it's all in color, and then it's Flying Horse Realty. So they're looking at the property while they're looking at it.
I like that. I like
nice.
that.
Very nice.
I've seen a metal business card before.
Yeah, I have too.
You know,
I've seen wooden ones. I hadn't seen metal before.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thin metal one. And
They're
like,
That's
metal prints.
cool.
They call those metal prints. We do them with send-out cards. In our Photoshop, we do metal prints, big ones for walls, and you can make them into your business.
like in Japan, where they seem to be a step ahead of us in some of this stuff, like QR codes they did
yeah. That's old
15
news.
years ago.
Yeah, old
now they're
news.
into something else. Well, some of the business guys there will use the metal cards because people don't want to throw a metal card away.
Yeah, it's very. I wouldn't throw a metal card away. I mean, I don't throw away paper cards, but I still wouldn't throw.
It's
a metal card.
expensive, but
But keep in mind, though, what if you have a big wig client that you need to impress? Having 5 of those metal cards made only for specific situations, I think it's worth the return on investment if you get that big client.
Not the one you're going to hand out at the chamber event.
Yeah, exactly. So,
You know.
and that's how I'm getting. Yeah, that's how I'm getting now about my $100 bill cards, because I have to have a whole bunch more of these made, and I'm down to just what I have on me now. So I tend to give those out to more people that are surprised. Like, I'm not giving these out to people that have met me before and seen me before and all of that. So,
That makes sense.
yeah, and then I guess also to clarify, the picture on the right here is the interior of the card. The picture on the left is the exterior of the card. If you imagine it being folded over.
okay, it's folded vertically then.
Yeah, folded vertically.
Okay.
And I put the top image. The top image actually should be flipped over for the card, but I put it that way for ease of looking at for this session. But the top image would be rotated so that it was, opened up like that.
That makes sense.
So I really should have brought one of those with me. And I had some other samples that didn't make it over here too. But anyways, okay, so that is the evolution of a business card. That's literally my thoughts, figures, and what I have done for 10 years to make my business cards. And now for the fun part, I'd like to sit down, and whoever would like to volunteer, let's take a look at some cards and see if we can kind of think of how we could do it better. I think we'll have time for a couple people, so, I mean, we've only been going now for about 15 minutes, so.
I'll let you look at my cards.
Okay.
But I'm going to have to run. I have to get across town for another appointment.
And of course, if y'all ever want to do a one-on-one sit down, I'll be happy to brainstorm with you about your cards too at another time.
That's cool.
I think I'd like to get.
Feeling better.
I'll be so glad when I'm better. I am a brat when I don't know. It's like, oh, push through,
Yeah, it is not fun. It's not fun.
But thank you, Michael. It was
My
very
pleasure.
helpful.
My pleasure. And I'm glad you could make it.
Play tennis Friday morning, tomorrow morning.
Yeah, he's
never
got
go
his
back.
big tournament.
Oh, and you'll want to bring your binders on Thursday, because I'll be dropping off DVDs and stuff to put in them.
Okay, great.
So.
Thank you so much. See you guys.
Bye, Sandy.
Everybody.
Well, I know, Susan, you've been wanting some help with your business card for quite some time, so I'd be happy to jump in with that on you. Do you have enough? Well, I'm sure you're all familiar with Susan's
I
card.
haven't seen the new one. All I saw was the 2 people looking at each
Do you have a couple extras to send out?
That's my only one. I'm down.
That's all right.
Well, I should have your cards in my briefcase, which I don't. But we can send it around. I'm familiar with it.
It's back.
I would say the first thing that I see about that card that you could improve would be a testimonial about results on the back. What client, because I know you have satisfied clients that have used your service and made a certain amount of money out of it. So right off the bat, if you said, if you got someone that was happy with your services to say something along the lines of, in the first week, Susan's service brought in $200 in verified business, or something like that, some very specific numbers about the effectiveness of your service. I think that would be the easiest kind of no-brainer way to start.
I think that you would use testimonials for types of businesses. I would use, like, for instance, 3 different cards and then let's say your niche market is automotive repair shops, or your niche market is, and then I would have a testimonial from an automotive repair, and that's who I would give it to, because I'm only going to say, have you been profitable for me, my type of business, and then I'll think about using it. So I would strongly consider it.
Excellent comment. Excellent
Another
comment.
thing is you're the first contact. So if there was a picture of you, a good picture, and somebody at the door, and you have a little basket in your hand, or something like that. I mean, something that where you're interacting. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, if that's what, because you're the first touch in a home, supposedly. I mean, that's what you're trying to get to, and then we're to use you to get our name into their home. So you are actually going to the homes, not personally.
Right.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Just the image,
That's a good idea.
just the image of that. They're thinking that.
Definitely. Well, I think that's really powerful. What do you have certain niches that you tend to hit more than others? I'd imagine restaurants is probably one of those.
Restaurants, dentists, veterinarians,
Well-
auto repair.
Well, then taking John's idea, I would immediately at least have 4 cards made that have testimonials from them. And then that way when you're giving it to them, they're like, oh my gosh, she's got a testimonial from this guy at this restaurant, Powerful, connects right with them. And they have no clue that you have 4 business cards and that you're attacking a very specific market and all of that. They're just like, oh wow, she's helped someone just like me. And that's really the power about your testimonials, is you want to get specific. What industry are they in? Where are they from? All of those things can be very powerful in getting people to identify with that testimonial. Yeah, definitely.
Another thing that might seem odd, but a lot of churches want to market, and so you didn't have to be a temple. Just go talk to whoever at any church in town. There's
I never even thought about that, Mark.
10,000 of them here, and they want to get out and have the new people call them or come and see them.
You're right.
No, I
That's
have a church
definitely good
in
market.
Ohio. I have 3 churches in Ohio. I've tried here. I'm going to continue to try more.
Colorado Springs is a ton of churches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think we're above national average for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got focus on
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, I mean, there's some of the self-explanatory things from the 7 that I mentioned before that could go on there, as far as your picture. I definitely put your picture on there. And some people get, scared about that idea, but, that's...
No, you have a sweet look, and people will like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You do.
it's a
I
soft
think
look.
sometimes it's just that they remember who you are when either they see you again, or when if they've got the card in front of them, they can hear your voice and go, oh yeah, I see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly putting a face to the name, there's definitely going to be an increased memory retention from that, for sure. And me, I'm a faces person, not a name person. So I see a face, I will remember exactly where I met you, if not your name. But I'll be like, yeah, I met you, and I do that all the time. Like, I met you at this, and like, yeah. I was like, what's your name again? And that's how I operate. I am a very facial-oriented person and not good with names. So I know for me, that would make me remember that more. So, any other ideas on your card?
I got a lot of them here.
Okay.
You have to be very visually creative, which I'm not. I'm very flat creative. So when I see your cards, I'm like, oh my, how'd you know to do that? How did you know to put all this together?
Mm-hmm.
Whether I read from this side to that side, it all equaled the same amount. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not in my alley, so
Michelle Williams is great about design.
She is.
She's awesome.
putting it all together.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And I got to admit, the look of this card, my vertical card, the recent ones, I can't take credit for all that. I mean, I did not do any of this on the front. I didn't design it. I didn't come up with the colors. I mean, I put the picture on the front of my business card, but I didn't create any of that. I did intentionally seek her out for personal branding pictures to use in my marketing, and out of that, she created this photo for me. But that isn't me. That's somebody else that I paid to do
Is
it.
there a book or a booklet or a website that you know regarding the power poses that you showed us the last time? Is there somewhere you could look, poses for flyers or cards? I mean, is there? I'm sure I could Google that and see.
Certainly. I mean, I'll tell you, once again, pulling back the curtain, I learned about personal branding. Most of what I know about personal branding and these poses comes from a man I'd like to call a friend, Joel Bauer. He's an infotainer. He's very famous as a product pusher at trade shows. He's very much into persuasion. His book, How to persuade people who don't want to be persuaded. Excellent book, and it talks about a lot of different transformation mechanisms. That's where I learned the 1 to 4, some of those things. He's where I learned about personal branding poses. So if you Google his name, click it over to image search, you'll see remarkably similar poses from me. And I mean, I have that stuff. I know you have it from the personal branding, and I'd be happy to provide that personal branding stuff because it's just 5-6 pages. So I'd be happy to bring that into PepNet with the other materials for everybody.
What's his last name?
Bauer, Bauer.
First name?
Joel, Joel. If you look him up, you'll see that he is directly responsible for my look. I wear a classic English style 4-button suit because Joel Bauer told me to. Seriously, it's no joke. And then I wear light interior, always a black suit because Joel Bauer told me to. And it's served me well ever since I've found that out. And the reason why a classic English style 4-button suit is that it never goes in style, it never goes out of style. It's perfect for weddings, bar mitzvahs, funerals, business, casual. It's good
There's
for
a
everything.
consistent look.
Exactly, consistent look.
Right.
Consistent. And on top of that, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but what makes a 4-button suit look different as well is the top portion of it is cut higher. So when I see other people in 3-button suits, it looks to me like they've got like a beer gut hanging out almost because they've got this long showing the belly. But mine, it's very short and cut right to here. And so that makes wearing this suit look completely different than how most people look at a suit because of the 4 buttons. And the cut of it is different than a 3 or 2-button suit. And for women, obviously you wouldn't wear a suit, but in your business attire, I wouldn't dress you as a man, but I would dress you... I didn't dress you like a man, I would dress you as a man would dress, meaning still the dark exterior, light interior colors works just the same for women as it does for men. Of course, you don't have the 4-button aspects of it, but the idea of light interior, dark exterior works for both sexes. So, and I use it all the time. I mean, that's why, chances are, I know being PetNet and going to some of the events, social events, I've been seen outside of my suit, but typically in a business situation, I will not be seen outside of my suit. And even, it was pretty funny, I went and did a speech over for the Alzheimer's walk, and you've got everybody in running gear and all that, and then I'm up there giving a speech in my suit, and one of the lines they had me give, which I was surprised, they're like, at the end I had to say, and this is why I'm running for the cure. And, I'm like, I'm obviously not running, but it worked nonetheless.
That's fine.
So, tossing out just some general ideas that I've thought. I think you, on your card, would really benefit from a more full-sized photo like the ones that I have, like these. So, I mean,
Why do you use a full-size photo? What's the rationale?
for me, it's about connecting my image to the business. And for me, since I am essentially my business, and then the aspects of the hair and all that are tied to it. But for me, a lot of it, the pictures convey a lot of psychological ideas, Like, my pictures to me say confidence, professionalism, trustworthiness, a lot of that type of thing. So if someone just looks at the front of my card, then I'm conveying a lot without them having to read even the back. And so I think, and then for me also, since my personal branding is directly tied to my clothing as well, it's very important that people see me on my card decked out, and then when I show up and I'm dressed exactly how I am on my card, it shows consistency, and among other things.
Yeah, that's good.
I noticed on my Facebook page that I changed my profile picture, and I got more out of that than I have for the last month of my posts.
Yeah.
Because I changed my picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
That's good.
But, ultimately.
Should we look
Okay.
at Mandy's card?
Yeah. So, ribbons and gifts.
Yeah.
And-
Card?
Yeah.
Now, is that the card that they gave you? In-
No. No, I made this
I love your card. I have it.
I tell you, to me, well, obviously, I'm going to say the same thing for Susan, the use of the back of the card. But the first thing that pops out to me is, since your name is Ribbon Gifts, how can we tie ribbons or a ribbon of some kind to create more of that personal branding type of stuff?
That's what I was sort of going with the flow.
And yeah, and I can see that right off the bat, too.
Yeah, and ribbon's just the name of the company too. So I don't want to, because I don't actually like tie ribbons on anything or
Mhm.
that kind of thing. Which people confuse that and ask me. So you do like ribbons on gifts? So
Do you have any free widget or any type of way to draw people in to let them try your services for free or anything like that?
You certainly have 100% satisfaction guarantee.
yeah,
That should be on here.
yeah,
90-day, what is it, 90-day return?
180 day.
180-day hassle-free return, no questions asked.
right,
That's got to be on.
I agree.
yeah, okay.
And what do you do differently? Well, I mean, I think you say it when you do your 30 second. You say, for those hard to find,
Yeah,
or-
see, yeah.
And you fit a niche market in that, like my parents, right? My parents are in their 70s. We bought them Christmas gifts for 30 years. What do we buy them this year, right? We always, what I mean? And so what we've done over time is, not to make it personal, but people have that problem. And your gift solves that problem.
It does.
Or, like Becky Tanner, she has tons of grandkids in Phoenix, Arizona. It costs her a fortune to ship gifts from Colorado to Phoenix, Arizona. And so your problem solves that. So I think maybe a testimonial for Becky Tanner. This gift solved my issue with having 30 grandkids in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. Did she say that to you?
No, but I know they have a lot of them.
Well, and she did buy all of the kids' stuff from me.
She said that, and I caught that from her all
Yeah.
the time, but I pieced that together myself.
Okay.
But, so
I left it.
Oh, she thanked you.
Okay.
So I would put that testimony on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sparked an idea in me, too, thinking that maybe that if-then would be a great thing to start using on the card, because if you're having trouble finding that perfect gift, then, yada, yada, yada. But I think that would be very powerful, because you're right, because I run into that same issue, too, I mean, buying gifts and such, it's hard to come up with that unique gift that they want. And I mean, play to their frustrations. I mean, I'm worried that my girlfriend won't like the gift I get her. I'm worried that I can't find the right gift at all. And there's just, if you play to the pain and frustration, you'll sell better playing to pain and frustration than you will to positive emotions.
Yeah.
And so you can talk about, I say cut the fat, waste, and frustration out of your marketing dollars. You could cut the fat, waste, and frustration out of gift giving.
But you have two different clients. So maybe you need two clients. One for average Joe and the other for company.
One B2B and one B2B.
Oh yeah, you're right, because that would be, I would say that you just hit something. That would be the first area to differentiate your cards.
Yeah.
You give B2B for business, you give B2C for consumer.
Because most of the time I'll talk about, if somebody's asking me, I'll say I work with businesses. But then they'll go, oh, so you probably need a bigger business. And I'll go, yeah, but then I end up with, I need something for my sister-in-law because I don't know what to get her. And they're like, oh, okay. So that would be good.
Yeah, and see, those two markets have dramatically different desires.
They do.
The B2B is going to want, how am I going to increase referrals? How am I going to increase my bottom line? How can I reward my clients?
And that's what we ended up, we talked over Christmas, we considered using your as our, for our clients, but we wanted to name brand, and we wanted to ensure that we were going to give them something that was going to have stay factor in their house. And so we decided on coasters that had our bread course engraved on it, and they're very nice. It's not like it's something that somebody's going to throw away. And so they're glass coasters that are engraved. Regardless, so we decided to go against you because we wanted to name brand. when you're going business to business, you have to name brand. If I just send somebody a Snap-on tool, they're not going to know me from Adam. They're not going to remember who sent it. So
Right.
it would be a great way if ribbon gifts could. I don't know if you offer that.
Well, one thing I can do is on the silver envelope, we can put your label.
Yep.
Yeah, and put a personal card and that kind of stuff in it, so that they know it's from you. But that thing they choose gets shipped to them. But they would probably remember at that point that it came from you because
Probably.
they ordered it and it came with your logo on it. But it doesn't come personal.
Yeah. But so regardless,
Yeah.
my point is business to business is a different market than business to consumer, or
Yeah.
whatever BTC is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Business to consumer.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So,
So you really have three
It's good
points.
advice.
The business owner, business manager applauding his employees, and then the B2B, and then the consumer.
yeah, the employee thing doesn't need to be name brand.
Right, because they know where they work, and they
Exactly.
hopefully know where they work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful.
Now, what do you think of the picture that's on there?
I would like to see the background doesn't tie into the card. So I would do something about the background, even if it was just photoshopping the background out.
Yeah.
So that would be my first thing. And you have a photo, so that's good. I would say the only way you might be able to maybe personal brand that a little bit more would be to have you holding some incentives or something maybe that they might get, something that might be like your most common ones or something, I'm not sure. You know,
Okay.
what do people order the most of?
Yeah.
Or have two people on the card, you, and then the other person, you know, the prettiest woman that you know, and then looking at your, just looking at the booklet, and pointing at something. So in other words, use it.
Yeah, I could almost see your booklet forefront, and I'm not sure how to really.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be the silver envelope, because there's 16 different ones.
It has to be a book. It has to be any booklet because that's what they're looking in, right?
Yeah.
And then a smile or something. But
Yeah, my Facebook is, and you can't actually see the woman's face the way that it had to get cropped, but you can see her sitting at the
Yeah.
table looking through it.
I could also imagine some kind of collage of your booklets maybe going on a card somehow. You've got 16 different booklets. Can you somehow create like they're stacked up and kind of in different ways, and you can kind of partially read some, and it might make it more interesting, I think.
Okay. Yeah, usually when I sit down with somebody, I kind of fan them out.
Or maybe having them fanned out on the back of your card, maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of options, though, I think.
that's a good idea.
and then one open so they see that there's gifts in there. As long as there wasn't any trademark infringement of taking a picture of somebody's
I don't think so.
item.
Certainly that would keep you around somebody ever thinking that you sell ribbons,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
they know what you sell, I think, because they get a picture of the catalog on the back or whatever.
Yeah.
So they would never ask, so do you sell ribbons?
Well, that would help too, I think, because sometimes I'll carry one with me,
Yeah.
especially at networking events, because you can't totally describe it. They almost have to see it.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Ribbons and gifts?
It's called Ribbon Gifts and Incentives.
Ribbon
Ribbon
gifts.
is just the name of the company.
Oh, okay.
Throwing out real quick, coming back to what John said, if you did fan those out on the back, you could have some kind of message attached around it that said, price is available from X to X range.
Yeah.
Oh,
even-
real quick, also for a USP, there are USP selections you can do based on selection. So I have 357 widgets in 27 colors, 50 flavors, blah, blah, blah. And that's a USP based on the selection you provide. So you could say, I provide X number of incentives at X number of price ranges, suitable for business to business or to consumer, and then you have that fanned out on there. I think that's got some possibilities there. I didn't mean to jump in on you. I just want to get that idea
That's
out.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've hit yours pretty well.
Yeah.
Did you have any other ideas or insights you want to kind of toss out?
What about this?
Yeah, well, that's where I was going to go next.
Like
If
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah, I like putting Facebook on some of the other things that you had mentioned.
To me, the card looks very simplistic.
Okay.
And I mean, it's it's just it's the same. It's it's a normal font, nothing. And if you're doing something that's special, then it should look special.
Okay. I had cards for a while that, in the little, and I just got it off of this print, but the little cool, whatever, it's not a font, the little logo kind of thingy or whatever, sort of looked like Ribbons does. But my font had to be in pink, and it was like a black or gray card, and people were saying they couldn't read it, and so I was trying to make it really readable.
Yeah.
So
If you have to force yourself to like something, it's the wrong idea.
Yeah.
If we're talking ourselves into an idea,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
always wrong. And you're sort of hard to see in here. And so Bruce, I mean, like they said, Michelle is very good at designing a card. I mean, it's a nice picture, and it has all the information, but it doesn't really tell what exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think throwing that USP on there based on your selection would be a very valuable thing. Also, I'd say if you wanted to clear up some real estate, you could Photoshop out very easily the brick wall behind you, and that gives you some more real estate to play with.
Yeah.
Because there's no need for that brick wall to be there.
Yeah.
So you can just pop it on out, white it out, and then you have more space on your card. So, moving on then to Carpet MD, I can say right now, if you want to, have you all seen his?
I've seen it, but let me get another look at it. Oh, Mark.
But I would say the first thing that pops out for me for Mark is going to be use of color.
Yeah, I like it too.
I like your use of color, and we can improve upon it, I think. Perhaps doing that block type I was talking about, where it's the reverse, except instead of black, you're doing red. And you have the white lettering on the red background. I was also thinking maybe a gradient of red to white or something in there too, maybe. But that's what pops out to me, because you're already using color in different ways on that card consistently. So the question is how to maximize that for me.
Okay, now should a picture be on there? I mean, would that be worth doing?
Yeah, I think so. For me, I kind of get into the idea of playing with it some. Can we put you in a doctor's coat? Can we put a stethoscope around you? I mean, I know you've talked in the past about some pushback from doctors and things about being Carpet MD, but I think if you use that image more, it would just be fun. It'd be like my afro. If had you on there with, but maybe it's a doctor's coat, but it's in a way that makes it clear that you're a carpet cleaner.
With a hose around.
Yeah. Or yeah, there you go, with a carpet hose. Yeah. See, I like that.
Like an anaconda.
But I like that your card is so clean because you're a carpet cleaner and you're bringing cleanness.
Well, people almost never remember the name of the business.
Really?
Yeah.
We do.
This is the carpet guy. I mean, that's sort of how.
But that's where the doctor thing they would remember for sure then.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if you had, you could steal my card, have Carpet MD and the coloring run down the side, you leaning into it with a doctor's, or with whatever getup, portrays that. Because if you did a doctor's coat, I would say you got to have red and white on it somehow, too. Maybe the doctor's coat has Carpet MD on it, or who knows, but.
Right.
I think
You gotta use the red and white.
doctor's sign helps. However you do that.
Or what about you wearing the doctor's coat, actually with the wand, like this, clean? Obviously you're not a doctor, you're cleaning the carpets, but you're just...
I like that idea. See, you could, if you were taking a layout like on my card, you could actually have it going from the opposite direction with the hose crossing over Carpet MD. It's actually blocking it out, you know what I mean? So you're actually, or maybe you're cleaning up, maybe if you did it this way, you could have your Carpet MD be turning into dirt at the bottom and you're vacuuming it up. I mean,
Yeah, or have a dog there and looking sad.
yeah, see? I like that. I like
What's
that.
going on here?
Yeah, the dog like having that look like.
See, and I was just talking with another client about stuff that's viral, puppies, kittens, and babies. That's viral. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
But I do like that your card is clean and you tell everything that you do
Yeah.
right on that card.
You can probably use a testimonial on there.
Yeah, the back, I realize I've only ever one time had somebody scan the QR code in
In
2
front.
years. In 2 years. in front of me. But if they did it after, they'd be all it is. It's a 10% discount. And if they scan it in front of me, I'll give them 10% discount. If they don't, I don't. And so I don't point it out because then I'm going to lose 10%. But if they happen to do it,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's certainly more language motivating them to scan it.
Well, there it already says discount is there.
Oh, yeah.
When I read it, I assumed it was some kind of special or discount. So,
Yeah, it's just, honestly, most people don't even ask. They come and do the carpets, how much was it? I tell them, they pay, and I go. I mean, they don't even care what it costs. And I don't overcharge them.
Yeah, some of that has to do with if it's a pet netter, I'm going to support more business, regardless of what it costs. I know you're going to do a good job. I know I can trust you, so I'm not going to haggle you for price. But if it's just a normal, somebody you pick up off the street, they might haggle you. You know what I mean? So maybe that's as a result of whose carpets you clean.
Right.
Yeah, like Leilani came over and did it. I never even asked before they did it, which I would always ask.
Yeah.
Anybody else is going to do it?
Yeah.
You didn't ask me when I did your carpet,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Because
It's-
You know, also just
Yeah.
if you did
you know
the
you
same
can be
carpet,
fair.
this
Yeah.
AMD, you could have
But at the
those
same time, we're not going to say, well,
if you're vacuuming.
Yeah, or going right across it, you can still read it.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I'm going to go
I've got some good ideas today. And have one for commercial and one for business. I mean, one for residential, one for business.
Yeah, that works for you too.
Um,
Because he can benefit from the B2B versus B2C as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different, but when I do business, I usually end up doing their home too.
Oh, I see.
So they have to, that business card has to be both, but the residential does not.
Yeah, very true. And see, I often get caught up, and I don't think about that stuff because I am so exclusively in the B2B mindset. I don't deal with consumers, not in the way that people do. So I'm always locked into that B2B, B2B.
What would be the difference from your B2B to B2C? What would your different card? What would the card be?
Maybe I wouldn't have a pet on there.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Pet is
restaurant?
homeowner. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
yeah, I could, for that, I could have a two-fold card with a couple of images of places I've cleaned before and after.
Yeah.
I mean, I could show you a picture of IHOP, and you probably wouldn't want to eat there again.
No, I know you said that.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
I know it's bad enough
I've seen
already.
your
Yeah.
pictures, yeah. And
Yeah.
I think those show a lot. Your
I stopped cleaning there because they keep it,
They don't call
you
you
can't
enough.
keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't call you enough. It needs to be done every month, and they do it like every 6 months. And it's just, it doesn't matter. But I mean, you show the difference. And people love to see that. Because I pull out my iPhone and I show them pictures, almost every single person. And then I'll also throw in a couple of family pictures. And people like that because then it ties in, and everybody's interested because my son's a model, and so everybody likes to see that, and his wife is. So you just show them a couple of things, and then they endear you, and then you start working. So, but today I learned different cards for different settings, and like your comment, a big door swings on small hinges, and this is the original seed. I always think of business cards like a seed, and you're
It
planting
is.
that seed. And the more you get out there, the more possibility of a harvest of some sort. I mean, I get calls, I found your card at a Safeway in Monument. I've never been to a Safeway in Monument. So somebody else is leaving my card out. Some woman that I've already done, and she liked my job, and so she'll set it somewhere. Or at a bank. I don't put cards at banks.
Yeah.
So somebody else is leaving my cards around.
Yeah.
And which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And so but it's just seeds. If I didn't have cards out there, and I always give people 2 or 3. I don't hand them one. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
good
I
or bad.
understand. Well, I know I give them more than one typically, and now that I have multiple cards made at a time, because before I was just running with my $100 bill cards, but recently I decided I really want to up my cards, which also is what made me, kind of want to do this topic as well, because I thought it'd be really relevant and something that all of us could use.
Would a business card fit inside of that at all? I mean, a regular business card inside your your money card? I mean, then you could give 2 at one time. They could give one away, and
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, a regular business card does fit inside here. I'm not sure what parts of it display, but I think my money card does cover a regular business card completely. I'm not sure. That's a good idea. I'll have to check that out. Oh, before I forget it, for you, one thing that you could put on a business-to-business card that would not be on a consumer card would be something along the lines of a statistic, which these are easy to find, on how people view a business based on the cleanliness of the business. So, for instance, one statistic not related to this that I was throwing out for a client before is that 56% of a customer's opinion of your business comes from your signage. So if you find a statistic about that, but for businesses, then people get them thinking about their image and what image are they portraying to other people, and pressing on how they need to be professional and this or that.
I know my business, it's usually women over 55 nationally. But in Colorado Springs, it seems like it's women in their 40s and 50s. So I don't know why it's different here, but nationally it's women 55 to 60 that have carpets cleaned. So I have to market it to that demographic. Almost.
If they're younger than that, they're too busy.
Yeah. Well, and most young people, they do their own. They go get a rug doctor, they use their Bissell cleaner, whatever, and then they get tired of that.
Yes, they get to the point where they're like, never mind, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I
Thanks.
think... Oh, go ahead.
No, just thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, just a couple of last little minor things then. This last slide, the whole point of this conversation is to make sure your card does not end up there.
Oh, I think I have one of those.
Exactly. So that's what we're talking about here. How can we get people to keep your card in their hand for longer and remember it? And, that statistic I threw out about the 90%, I'm destroying that with these cards. I'm destroying that. People are holding my cards for years. I mean, there are examples of marketing, it's just, to me, it was just very rewarding to hear a business card that I hand out come back to me a year later.
Wow.
Especially after learning that statistic, because I actually learned that in the course of doing this. So I'm Michael Black, AfroMarketing President, www.afromarketing.net. If you ever have any questions, feel free to catch me. I'm always happy to discuss them.